What's going to happen at my naturalization interview? Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our office here in St. Louis, Missouri. I was just preparing a client for a naturalization interview in an office that I've never been to before. This particular office is in Long Island, New York, and my client is finally getting his naturalization interview, and so we just hopped on Skype for me to prepare him. So I thought I'd shoot this quick video to let you know what you might expect at your naturalization interview. Now, of course, this is an office that I haven't been to before. Every office does things a little bit differently, but I thought it would make sense to sort of what happens generally at a naturalization interview. So when you arrive, obviously you want to arrive about 45 minutes to an hour early. You want to give yourself plenty of time to get through security. You want to make sure that you have all of your identity documents. We'll talk about that in a minute. You're going to have to go through security. So obviously you're not going to bring in any weapons or anything that is incriminating or anything bad into your interview. I've had officers, security officers tell me of all kinds of crazy things that people bring into federal buildings, and that's generally a bad idea. So you make it through security, and then at some point you're going to get fingerprinted. So USCIS wants to make sure that the person coming for the test and the exam is the person who's applied. So in most situations you're going to have your photo taken and at least these two fingers fingerprinted. And after that's all taken care of, you're going to want to present all of your identity documents. So you want to bring your passport, all of your passports, not just your most recent one, your driver's license, your green card, your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, any birth certificates for children who have come out of your marriage, and you want to make sure that if you've been divorced, you have to bring that. So anything important document-wise that you've had in your life, you're going to want to bring that to your interview. You're also going to want to be ready for the interview. So after you have all those documents, you're going to get called in eventually to the officer. Now, sometimes you get running a little bit behind, so you have to give yourself plenty of time for the interview. And once you get back into the back office, the interview will not be out in the open area where everybody is like they do sort of at the embassies, but instead you'll be taken back to an immigration officer's office, and if you have an attorney, your attorney will go back with you. You'll be placed under oath, you'll be sworn in to tell the truth, and then you'll be allowed to sit down. The officer is going to probably copy your identity documents, compare them to copies that you've submitted with your application, and most officers like to begin by doing the examination. So the naturalization examination, there are 100 questions in the booklet. They're going to ask you 10 questions, and once you get 6 right, then they'll stop testing. You're also going to have to write a sentence that they read to you in English, and then they're going to give you a sentence that's written out that you're going to have to read for them. So assuming all goes well, and again, there's great apps and great websites that'll teach you how to study for your naturalization exam. My client was actually a little surprised that this is when the exam occurred, but that's exactly when it occurs. And like I said, most officers like to start off with that. Some save it for the end. But either way, they're going to ask you question after question. Once you get 6 right, they'll stop. If you get more than 4 wrong, then they'll stop again because you'll have failed, and they'll give you one more chance in a couple months to take the test one more time. After the test, you'll be given a review of your N-400. The officer will have the application in front of them, and they'll basically go through all the questions on the N-400. So they're going to ask about your parents, about your spouse, about your children. They're going to ask about any arrests, any groups you've been in on. They're going to want to see any trips that you've taken outside the United States. That's why it's important to bring all your passports. You're going to want to make sure that you have answered all the questions correctly ahead of time. You should really spend some time reviewing your N-400. I just emailed over my client the N-400 and all the supporting documents, and that'll give him a chance to sort of review his answers. There's a lot of strange questions and a lot of unusual legal jargon in the N-400, so it's never a bad idea to have those questions maybe read aloud to you a couple times just so you can practice. I went through it once with my client, and I'll probably do it again that morning while we're waiting. But generally, it's good to hear the questions because the test is given orally. It's not given in written form. So after you go through the whole examination, you're going to hopefully sail right through, and you're going to see that there's a lot of questions about have you ever been a drug dealer or helped anyone sneak in the United States illegally. Some of these questions may seem funny. You don't want to be laughing. It's not a place for jokes, and everybody takes things pretty seriously, and I'm sure you will too because obviously your naturalization's on the line. After you've answered all those questions, then they're also going to ask you questions about the oath. Are you prepared to take the oath of allegiance? Do you understand what it means? Do you understand that you're giving up your allegiance to your home country? And if the United States needs you in a war or in a national emergency, are you going to be there to assist? So you're going to have to convince the officer that your loyalty is with the United States. They just ask some gentle questions about that. and assuming everything goes okay, you'll get a letter saying that you've passed your test and that your case is either recommended for approval or that a decision cannot yet be made. So one of those two things, but basically you'll get documentation that you were there, and then after that, hopefully a few short weeks later, you'll get an oath ceremony. Now there are a few jurisdictions where the oath ceremony occurs that very day. The officer can swear you in, but for the most part, you're going to get naturalized by a federal judge in federal court. So we hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions about the N400 interview, you can always email us at info@hackinglawpractice.com. You can find us in Facebook at Immigrant Home, which is our immigration clearinghouse Facebook group. And then, of course, we have the YouTube channel. And if you have ideas or videos that you'd like us to shoot, just send us over an email at info@hackinglawpractice.com, and we'll try to answer it for you. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.